the sound was not working. Okay, so I'm so excited about Spring Chinook, you guys, that I decided we're going to do another live stream. Only this time we'll talk a little bit about like what's going on out there, and that's fine. And I did equip myself with some pictures to talk about some things. But today we're going to discuss more so what we got going on for setups and, you know, different types of setups to get on these springers. I've got two cameras. I got this one going on to you, and I got this guy beep, beep, right here that's going to focus on all of our ability to tie, which I think is pretty cool. And then I should have a special guest, Kurt from Godsent Fishing should be joining us. Let me see if he is in here yet. There he is. Hold on. Let me add him to the stage. Oh, there's Kurt. What's going on, Kurt?
Hey, guys.
All right, so there's Kurt here. For now, let's get rid of the old setup cam because I don't think that we necessarily need it at the moment. We can make us both a little bit bigger. So down in the comments, come on, guys, who's excited for Spring Chinook season? Let's go. Let me know. I want to see it. I see we got a couple comments going on up in here. Robert, which I believe is who said they were joining all the way from Garibaldi, which is totally awesome. I love to fish around the Tillamook Bay. They should be anytime, man. Should be anytime. So as you can see, Kurt over there is sitting inside the Godsent lab. Look at that, you guys. That Kurt is the manufacturer. He makes all of the awesome, juicy stuff like this beautiful bad boy right here. Come on now. Look at that. And, you know, there's always the opportunity to obviously use real eggs, guys. But I will tell you, this Kurt stuff is going to be a total game changer because I go through bait really fast, and this is going to maximize me not going through bait so quick.
I didn't just spray that with WD-40. I didn't do it.
What do we got? Jason says, nope, I hate fishing for springers. I can never catch one. Ha, 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 ha. Here we go. I'm going to throw this up. Look at this. Look. Oh. Robert said, I sure am. That was from me asking about if he's over there in Garibaldi. That's awesome. Yeah, Jason's so funny. We got Tyler from Little Captains. Kokanee is joining us right there. Look at that. Boom. So next week, guys, I got to plug this really quick. Next week, we're going to be in the studio. I'm going to have Tyler in-house, and we're going to talk about Kokanee because Kokanee is getting fired up in the state as well. But today, we're talking about Spring Chinook. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, all right. So, let's talk setups. And I think the first thing that we're going to talk is, and let me get this going on here too. Let me add this. Boom, the old setup cam. Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to take
hot potato. Woo.
Okay, with the setup cam, you guys can still hear me, right? Or when I take my face away, you can't hear me? Well, hold on, wait. If I take this away, can you still?
No, we can't hear you.
Okay, we're going to leave my face up then, and we're going to have the setup cam going on because apparently it shuts off my microphone, which gives me an option to keep my microphone on, but I told it to stay on, and it didn't want to listen. So, okay, going over here to the setup cam. I'm going to scoot over here a little bit. Boom, we can even move that camera. Okay, so the first and foremost, for sure, guys, the most tried and true that everyone seems to do is the old triangle flasher, right? So this is going to be setup number one. We're going to talk about trolling behind the boat as these springers are coming in and how we get out there and we do that. You may already know how to do this, but either way, thanks for joining. maybe we have a little bit different ways that we do it. That would be cool to discuss. We probably have some beginners in here as well that maybe don't know. So bear with us. We're going to do this. So we got the triangle flasher, and so I like to use bumpers with triangle flasher. So we're going to go like setup cam here. We got the triangle flasher. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is I like to run. Let me unclip this real fast here. I like to run a bumper. This is a like 150-pound. And the idea behind this, guys, the reason why we're running this bumper, it might seem really silly, is so, and the bumper just clips on right there on the front of the triangle flasher. But the reason why I like to use this, guys, is because this flasher is expensive and a lot of the other gear attached to it is expensive. So really, I want my leader to be my smallest diameter anything, so that when I get in trouble, like if I snag a log or a rock or, whatever, hopefully just the plug breaks off and I don't lose all of this, right? Okay, so but we got the bumper coming out, boom, right out to the flasher. Now, here's where things get different, because you could do one of two things. If you have downriggers on your boat, you could just attach this to your line. You could clip it on the downrigger, and we're already rocking. But a lot of times people are running these long lines. So when we're running them long line, we can buy this extra little guy here from Short Bus. Here we go. Let me show this on the old setup cam. Here we go. It's like just like its own little triangular piece, and it is like a weight dropper. So you can see on here, I have some monofilament tied onto this and a big old triangle weight. And on the bottom of that, there is the old clip swivel. So I could change that weight depending on what kind of tides are going on. But anyways, so this guy's kind of just a stabilizer for keeping your weight down and keeping stuff from tangling up. So all we got to do is just take the old bumper here. Whoop, back this way. We take the old bumper here that's on front of the triangle flasher. We clip it on one side of this bumper. Okay, and now we tie our line onto the end here that has the clip with the barrel swivel. So now this is on the front of the system. It's got yourself a nice little weight. You got the bumper then coming out. I'm trying to watch what I'm doing here. We got the bumper coming out and then to the old triangle flasher. And then on the back of the triangle flasher, we have yet another clip with another barrel swivel. And then at that point, I know it's a complicated rig, guys. I know. From that point, that's when we finally choose whether we want our, spin fish or we want our cut plug. And a lot of these come pre-tied up. I got one right here that comes with the old leader already on it. But as you can see, we would just, if it didn't have one, this one right here, we've got the old treble hook with the 3-point barrel swivel, right? But you could also do, I think I've got one. Here we go. Here's another one right here. This one has a stinger on it. See, so we've got the old the treble, and then we've got the old secondary treble, the stinger. And then there's situations where like you're trolling in like the ocean, or the regulations call for a single point, and you could obviously tie this leader with just single points. And you're just going to run the old line. You can see there's a hole for it. Comes on through to the back right there, runs through the old harness. There's the first one, runs through a secondary harness right there, comes out the back. Make sure to put your rubber band through it. But that's just the idea of that. And then finally, this gets tied onto the back of the old triangle flasher, and that is the whole trolling setup. Now, I know it's hardcore and it's complicated. What do you think, Kurt? It's a pretty complicated setup sometimes, right?
Let me tell you something. There's length in there. There's a bunch of other things in there that you have to put into factor, because sometimes you need that whip, sometimes you need the steady. So you have to use all of it to figure it out, right? That's why you want to put as many people on your boat or as many baits down as you can, and thank God for the 2-pole limit this year. Yeah.
So Kurt's talking about there's on the Willamette you can you can troll with 2 rods. And I should say really quick, I'm going to throw up there really quick. Look, guys, the first Willamette Springer has been turned into fishermen's, and other ones have been caught. So they are definitely there for us to catch. Let me see here. We're going back to this view. I like this view. This is pretty good. Okay. All right. So the last part to that setup, though, that I do want to highlight is that these the super baits, right? You can remove the old rubber band, and the super bait actually opens up if my fingernails will let me do it. There we go. Boom. Look at this. Okay. And there is a little squishy pad inside there. So you could add like just, old gel scent or, any kind of whatever scent. But we often, at least on my boat, we usually pack these with tuna, sardine, herring, things like that. And I do like to do stuff like I'll take a can of tuna and then we'll use like a scent. So Kurt over there sells scents. God scent makes sense. Man, you want to take like your sand shrimp scent, and mix it in with your tuna and all that. And then you pack that in there. And then your spin fish, this is a spin bait right here. And then this guy right here is a spin fish. Well, there's a couple of them here because different companies make these. They're essentially the same thing, right? But anyways, these guys open up as well. Boom. And you can stuff those with the old tuna or anything, really. I mean, you could stuff salmon eggs in there if you want to. But anyway, so that is the first setup. I'm going to move some of this stuff. Obviously, you can get wild and crazy with this setup, guys. You can change what kind of, plugs you're running. You can change what color flashers you're running. I mean, it's really endless. You can do things like take hoochies and hide your stinger hooks and things. None of that's bad. All of it's good. Like Kurt was saying, experiment. So that's the first setup. We're going to go over to Kurt for the secondary setup. So, Kurt, what you got cooking up for us here? I think you're going to show us well, most people know it as the Spin Glow setup, right? But we have a brand new thing called the Spin and Joe going on over there at Godsend. It's super awesome. I got to say, because I got back here in the case here, I got some, who doesn't have Spin and Glows? But here's the thing, guys. You've all used Spin and Glows. When a fish comes along and bites on a Spin and Glow, right? They're hard. In my experience, when I've fished with them, I got to be on that hook set like right away because it's not natural. As soon as they bite on it, they know that it's not okay and they want to spit it out. Hopefully your hook gets them in that moment. Kurt over there at Godsend is making this awesome thing. And they're like soft beads or soft baits, guys. So they rotate and spin. I'm going to have him show you. I know, I'm sorry, but they're soft so that when the fish comes along and chomps on them, they're like, what's that? And they want to chomp some more. Okay, I'm going to send it on over to Kurt. Go ahead, Kurt. Show us what you got, man.
Okay, so Josh, were you able to run that video of Don't Be That Guy?
Oh, yeah. Let's re-show it really quick.
Yeah, let's re-show that and let's start from there.
Okay, yeah. So we have a video we want to show you, and then we're gonna come right back. But you got to check this video out. It's crazy. If you were in here earlier, you would have seen it. Yeah, don't be this guy. And I apologize. I watched this earlier. I apologize for the cursing, guys. It's okay. We're adults. My channel is marked not for kids, so it's all right.
Yeah, there might be a little cussing going on.
Yeah. He's gonna have to get in the fucking water. Are they in there? Yeah, there's somebody inside.
Everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Okay. That was crazy. Tell us what's happening.
That was crazy. I didn't even get wet, by the way. That's captain from the Apache Rose. He dipped the bow. He came in, dipped the bow, let it raise up, and I just walked across. The hardest part of that was the guy that grabbed me kept squeezing the air out of me, right? I said, dude, you gotta let me go, man. I can't breathe.
Okay, wait. So let me clarify for the viewers here. So you're the guy on the burning boat, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. So thank God this other captain come along. So what happened?
So a bird had nested up inside of we had the bucket up on top of the stack. But we took it off the night before, and those birds were nesting, right? That's salmon season for you. And the bird built a nest in there and had a bunch of paper in it. So it got through the asbestos and caught the back wall on fire, right where our life suits were and where our raft was, right? So, but I saw the trouble coming, and we were out with the fleet, right? So I started yelling as loud as I can, say, hey, guys, we got to get that. You guys got to come over here and rescue us, right? So would you guys like to hear the rest of that story?
Oh my God. Tell down in the comments, guys. Come on. The comments should be lighting up right now. Like his boat caught on fire while he was out fishing. Dudes come and save him. We have a video of it. And here's the man right now talking to him, living, breathing. Come on, you got to comment. Wasn't that crazy?
That was crazy. So just so you guys know, as you guys are commenting, I've been commercial fishing for salmon almost all my life. My first job was on the High Hope, and I used to run out of Morro Bay. So I've run from Morro Bay, where the salmon start, all the way up to Bodega Bay. And my last trip, as you guys saw, didn't turn out so well. So pretty much I've done from Oregon all the way into California. So yeah, needless to say, I'm a bait maker now. It's a lot safer. Although this does get a little hot, but you're not going to burn on that one. And just to finish that off, the 2 tanks, we were full, right? Because we were doing our shakedown cruise, which I wanted to talk to you guys about that on your springers tonight. The fuel was shooting up like this. So both tanks emptied. They were shooting fuel, and both tanks emptied before she went down. So we didn't pollute. The sperm whales were jumping all around, and Andrew's like, hey, we should go fishing where the sperm whales are. So it turned into a whale watching trip. And then after that he's like, after they rescued us, he's like, hey, do you want to go in? You know, we're responsible. We have to take you in. And I says, well, you have a boat full of people. Are they fishing? And he goes, yeah. He says, they all paid $165 to go fishing. I said, let's go fishing. Yep. So we went off, and I caught the biggest cabezon that I've ever caught in my life on that trip. So Just leave it up to me. That's what I do. I adventure, right? And that's why the guys are starting to recognize. I have not released that video because I was a little embarrassed and I was worried about the environmental impact. But, there was no environmental impact. So, but hey, let's talk about don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say right now is that you guys are going to get your boats ready. If you go to godsetfishing.net, which is a little hard to get to on the Facebook, you'll see that we went out and we did the shakedown cruise of the sled. And the reason why we did that was it just came out of the shop. We took it for like 15, 20 miles. We're looking for hydraulics. We're looking for gas. We're making sure that the electronics are working. We're doing everything we can to get the boat ready. We're checking for electrolysis on the boat. We were taking an ohm meter and ohm metering everything so that we could find out that, we were at that 0.05% as we were running hot, right? So you want to check your boat. So if you don't know how to do that, if you have an aluminum boat and you don't have the zinc plates on it, make sure that you take an ohm meter, hook it to the boat on your negative, hook it to your positive, and read the ohms that are coming off the boat. Okay, because here's one for you. Salmon, they respond to the school. They're not really they're swimming in schools and they're staying in the dark water because they don't like the light. They don't have eyebrows, you guys. So the sunlight, that UV actually bothers them, okay? So when they're in those schools, they're looking for a certain electrical experience, right? And that means that there's a ball of bait. So all they have to do is come up and hit that ball of bait, get the food that they want, and then go back down. So, and that's the way that they function, okay? So you want to make sure that your boat is not hot, okay? The next thing you want to do is make sure that all your fans are working. Make sure that all your electronics are working. And then once you know that all of that's working, then you get into the gear. Okay, so here's a trick that I want to share with you guys right now. And listen, if you pay attention to me, you'll learn something here. Okay, so most of us have flashers that we had from the year before. Okay, we're going to pull them out of our bags and we're going to hook them up, or we're going to buy new ones. Okay, let me tell you something. Yep, there's the bag. Okay, so watch this, guys. So you see my fish bowl? I ain't playing around. I want to catch fish. So what this is in a solution of lemon joy and water very lightly. And what I want to do is I want to take these and I want to clean these in the lemon joy. Okay, because that they're going to have the stink from last year. So This is one of the first things that you're going to want to do. And guys, for the springers, I'm going to tell you right now, do not be afraid to use these with the E-chips in them, okay? These smaller flashers. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to clean up all of my flashers first, okay? And I'm going to clean them with the lemon joy. Not only are they going to clean up and shine better, but it's going to take all of that stink off from last year, as well as when the manufacturer, I am a manufacturer, makes something, they just bag that sucker up. They don't care if it smells. That's on you to get the smell off, okay? Right. So if you're trolling along and you're not getting bit, well, gee, I wonder if that has anything to do with it, right? Because right now the springers are scarce. We want every chance that we can get to catch a fish. So hang on.
Yeah, and I even bring some lemon joy in a squirt bottle and a little scrubber. And sometimes I'll even, like, after a little while of handling it myself and fondling it, I'll give it a new spritz right out there on the river.
I never use WD-40 in fish oil. Ever, ever, ever. This is illegal. Don't do it. So just so that you guys know, when you have your swivels and all the rest of that, listen, it doesn't hurt to soak them and some Dawn soap. I mean, you want to go through your whole rig, right? And then I'm going to say, like the bumper that he was showing you. Can you show me a bumper again?
Here, let me. Yeah.
Okay, so the metal clasp that he has right there at the end. Do you guys see that? That's just a metal clasp. Here's another little secret that I've learned. Sharpie pins are your friend. Okay, this is a known thing in the salmon world that Sharpie pins, the smell of the Sharpie pins, sometimes they're on it, sometimes they're not. But taking and painting that metal after you've cleaned it and putting the red on there or black. I usually do half red, half black with a Sharpie on my metal. So then you want to make sure that if the fish are being shot, you're going through the fish and they are not biting. Blacken your line. Take that bumper and take that Sharpie and go right down that line and blacken it. Because sometimes they're just that kind of skittish, right? So this is another trick that you guys can use to stealth your presentation. Okay, so I'll just keep rolling because that way I can get this out so everybody has a chance. Okay, so then you have to realize that that line is going through the water, okay? And it's spinning. You've got your lead, okay? And it's spinning, and then the other one is spinning. Okay, well, that all causes friction, you guys. And that friction, even though that your boat is probably in the right 0.05, if your boat is still running perfect and they're still not biting on you, I'm going to tell you a secret right now. Okay, and I've kept this quiet just like I was a commercial fisherman and a fisherman all my life. I used to ride my horse and fish off the back of my horse, okay? I've been
Kurt's
fishing
a legend, you guys.
Huh?
I said Kurt's a legend, you guys. He's about to give us a secret. Pay attention. I'm listening.
Okay. So now we have all of this friction going on with all of this stuff that's happening behind our boat, okay? Now you're dragging lead. What happens when you drag lead through the water and it's got friction on it?
Makes noise.
Not only that, but it causes electrolysis.
Right.
Okay? So I've kept this quiet for a lot of years. This is God sent, S-T-E-N-T. And tonight, Joshua, since you went ahead and were the first one to brave me being on the camera with you, I don't know what you were thinking, but I'm going to show you something that I've been using in commercial fishing for a very long time. We did it different ways. The last 4 years, my wife says 4 or 5 years, somewhere in there, because it's all been a blur. I made something to quiet down that lead for steelhead, for your trout, for your salmon, all the rest of it. Hang on one second. Let me go grab it.
Ooh, secret stuff, guys.
So you'll notice the guys that are catching the most springers do not have any metal coming to this, but they still have metal underneath it. So this is your lead ball, right? So now it's going through the water like this, okay? It still has the brass on the top. It's still sending electrolysis up to that swivel, okay? Because it's got to be attached to a swivel. So what I did is this last year before the Never Again 9 burned down, we went out and did some major experiments. So the lead balls that we were running, they were on lead lines, right? We had 28 lures out, you guys, when we were trolling. So what I've done is I made it so that we can quiet down this lead and take the electrolysis off of it. Guys, this is God sent fishing sticks, okay? And what I use this for is to do this right here. I take this ball and I take the lead out of the equation, okay? And I rub this all over the ball. Okay, then I take my fingers. You can use the gloves if you want, but the scent seems to work just fine. And I quiet this lead down, okay? So now you're trolling this through the water, and it's down below your gear, right? Guess what happens? The scent comes off of this and trails all the way back. Okay? So now let me tell you something about salmon. Salmon don't want to look, okay? They will after they get activated. They get activated by scent and electricity. So when your scent is right and they're feeling that wave going through the water, okay, then they're really activated. When they come up to bite, if it doesn't feel natural to them, you're going to get a drive-by. Everybody's had a drive-by. Boom, 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 and they just leave. That's your indication right there. I used to watch on the poles that went out like this, the springs, right? And I could tell if a fish was sticking or not because I just ran through the school. And if a fish stuck, I had everything perfect, and I would leave that out there and let the other fish hit, okay? Because that's how we caught thousands of salmon, okay? So this is what I'm going to tell you.
I got to say really quick, guys. I got to say, I want to show this here really quick. Kurt is not messing around. Look at this right here. I'm going to share my screen. I went and looked something up. Now I know that this is like an old beat up coho, but look at the size of that nose. Like, and I'm not meaning like the beak on him. Look at the nose hole right next to the eye. Like salmon, that whole top snout of the salmon. And it's not just coho, but it's also Chinook and whatnot. But scent is so big, you guys. So big. And Kurt just dropped like a major secret on you. So replay the video if necessary. Anyways, continue, Kurt. I just wanted to show him how big, like in that picture, you could really see, like the nose hole is almost the size of their eyeball. Like they have huge scent glands. Huge scent glands.
So how do you think that they find their way back to the river that they reared themselves in? Yep. It's all scent, right? It's like a hound dog. It's like a hound dog on a coon, right? That hound dog ain't going to let that coon go away. That hound dog knows exactly from free air, from sniffing the ground, sniffing anything that he might climb, all the rest of it. It's all about the scent. So that's why I've done what I've done over the last, I'll say for my wife, which I love very much, by the way. That's my biggest adventure now, is that the fact that the fish are scenting. Okay, so there is a second factor in there. Okay, and Joshua touched on it a little bit earlier. And the fact that when that fish takes that bait in his mouth, think about this. He's been in the creek, okay? He's learned from the creek what he can touch with his mouth and is okay for him to eat that doesn't upset that fish. So he learns there when he's this big, okay? He learns from there. And then he swims out with all of his other smoke. And they all are doing this. They just don't eat it, they mouth it. Okay? So then they go out into the ocean. They come up, when they feel that electricity, then they get close, they got the scent, they mouth it. They just don't gobble what's there. They're not like a tuna. Okay? They're 100% different. They're going to mouth that bait, and they're going to kill it. They're going to wait for the scales. They're going to wait for the test. They're going to wait for all the rest of it. But as they're mouthing it, if it is exactly right, they're gone. They've got it. They're leaving the sea, and they're going back down to where they're comfortable to have their dinner. All right. So this is what we need to duplicate when we're out fishing for them. Okay. So the shrimp this year, for example, it wasn't the sand shrimp. It was the regular shrimp. That's what they were eating. Guess what, guys? Springers ain't going to be no different. they're on the shrimp. Even though the herring came through, and they're coming right with those herrings. Trust me, they are. I'll bet you they're already stuffed on the shrimp, and that's what they're going to be on this year. So, for example, last year, they were on the herring last year. They ate herring, 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 herring. Didn't matter whatever I threw at it. If it didn't look like a herring, they weren't eating it. This year, from the indication that we've got, it's shrimp. Okay, so I'm going to say everybody start with shrimp, and if I'm wrong, I'll take the blame. But I'm pretty sure I'm right. So when you've been out fishing, Josh, what set were you using?
Oh man, I usually use tuna. Garlic bloody tuna seems to usually be a murderer when it comes down to trying everything. Sand shrimp is super popular though. Like I'm usually always like when I pack my cut plugs, it's usually tuna in like oil, in their own oil, and then I'll usually add sand shrimp and I'll add a little garlic bloody tuna.
Okay.
Combo.
So, and I ran the tuna last year. and I caught my biggest Chinook. I was done in like a month. So I just brought everybody else fishing because I leave my boat moored and I just go out and fish every morning while everybody's still sleeping, right? I'm like, oh, I'm on them. So I've got a feeling, guys, that the ones that are probably catching right now are probably catching them on shrimp because I think that was their main diet. The water, first off, we're in El Nino, which is a current change that comes from Africa that heats up our water.
There's your good herring. There's your good herring color right there.
Yep. So that has been the issue. So as a bait maker, and don't call me a masturbator either, okay? Just because I make a lot of good baits, and I'm a master of what I do.
Right, it's right over this way. I use the term legend is what I use. It says legend over there.
So we know that they're Springer colors, right? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to match what that shrimp would look like going through the water. So I made these up here, right, that have the legs on them, okay? But then if you open them up, there's a tube down the center, okay? And that tube goes all the way down. So we can stuff our tuna in there. We can stuff our gel scents in there, the shrimps, the sardines, whatever scents that we have, right? And I'm not even being particular about ours, right? We can put those scents in there, and then our job is to get it to wiggle, okay? So what we did is I've been blessed in this business that I have an aerospace engineer that does the CNC for us. And I've been very lucky there. I hope it's lucky for all of us. He made the soft spinning gel, okay? And this thing is so soft that when they hit it, their teeth are going to stick in it, okay? Yeah, right? That's the small guys.
I know. These are for the steelhead guys, so rest assured that Kurt makes baits for all the fish that you want to go chase. But I'm excited to see these big ones.
So
yeah,
this is what it's going to look like going through the water. So we have the chartreuse, we have the blue, which is what we cure our herring in. Okay, and then I heard somebody say to me that they cured their herring in a black cure too. So I need to do a black on one side and then the chartreuse on the other. So the colors are not an issue, right? Yeah, and I've got that plug. I love that plug. That's a collector's item, by the way. If you want to get rid of that, I'll take it.
This is a collector's item too. We're going to get into this later, but
oh yeah. So anyway, so these two together, this is hollow, so you can run any one of your tubings down it if they're not on scent. So I always start my day without scent. Because some days they don't want nothing. They just want activity. So I make sure that they have their activity. And then if they're not biting and I go over them, then I just add the scent to it, right? And I figure out what scent they want. So this is going to spin, which I have some videos on our thing. This spins like this, wiggles the tail, which for you kokanee fishermen should be paying attention right now. So this is going to wiggle, it's going to wiggle this, and then I would put a flash feed in between here. But on our blades, our 360s, our spinners and all the rest of that, those cost $8, you guys. This setup right here costs you $2. Okay? So, when the spinners become so expensive and all the rest of that, because I have, if you look over here, I have a whole painting booth. I can literally paint up every lure that I want, okay? And just buying the blanks, you guys, was freaking ridiculous. So I said, okay, enough. So we had this created. We had this brought into the shop. Yet those guys are going to be wickedly bad for the landlocked coho. So, guys, I fished a lot of those. You ought to see some of the size of my coho that I've got.
Those are current stuff right there, guys. You can get on godsentfishing.net.
And which supports my buddy's channel. By the way, I wanted to say that. I want to start off with saying that. Joshua has been there with this company from the very beginning, and he has not quit. He has used my stuff as I was learning how to do this and helped me to get to the point we are right now. And after 4 years, he got to have the benefit of all of that work, and it all came in from one color, wasn't it, Joshua?
Yeah, the old crazy egg is like,
yeah, right?
Like straight up, if I show my boxes, like, okay, I guess this box right here still has some small crazy egg clusters, but like my roundies from steelhead season, I'm not sure where it is, but my roundy box, like there's not a crazy egg left in there. All the fish,
well, they went crazy over it.
They did. They went, and you know what? I was out fishing with other people, and I had more of them. I kept telling everybody, "Dude, put on a crazy egg, put on a crazy," And I was just pounding fish, and they weren't. They were all throwing BNR stuff, and I mean, they weren't listening to me. They should have put on a crazy egg. Everything was eating the crazy egg.
Well, we have the pictures to prove that. I think we rounded the corner. I think that we make something that is less expensive and works for everybody. So let's. Okay, so are we done with the trolling stuff now? Can we get into the river stuff?
Yeah, really quick. I'm gonna pull up. I have you probably have some right there on your shelf, but in
what you mean that wall? Those walls that are full of bait. What do you want to see?
I was gonna show off the. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I was gonna show off the crazy egg. Oh, here we go. Here it is, right here. Look. Remove that one. Here we go. That's the one, guys. That one. That's a killer right there. That is an absolute killer.
So,
but yeah, go into like a plunking style. Show them how we want to use the spinning joes and how we want to set them up.
Okay, I'm real excited about this. I put the video out with the hot pink one, but I'm going up to the Columbia, and we're going to go meet up with the Columbia River Plunkers in Rainier, and everybody will get the invite to come and join us for that day. I'm really excited about this. So I have the small spinning joe, which is the one for the steelhead. And for the fish when they're being really picky. So if you want to drift fish or if you want to troll, however, they do many things. Okay, so let me go back to where I was. Okay, so I'm real excited about this because that many men, I've been blessed with great fishermen in my life, and many men said, Kurt, that spinning joe's going to work. You just need to make it bigger. So we went to not the biggest size spinning glow that they make, but we went to the size that was just down below it. So what I do is I just simply run this just like a spinning Joe, which is going to have your line come through here. It's going to come out here. I like a corky on these, you guys. I'm telling you why. Because if this is spinning like this and it's following the current, so where that fish is swimming through that current, we're now introducing a bait to him or her that has their second favorite thing in the world, a corky. Okay? So I put this on with a corky with my number 4 hook. If you put the corky on it, you can run your coon shrimp, you can run your shrimp, you can run your egg, you can run a worm. The worms this year, just a straight bubble gum with these guys in front of it, just killed this steelhead. I was done early again. So it's a regular plunking setup. Joshua, do you have the stuff there to tie one? And it's soft, so when they bite it, their teeth get stuck in this, you guys, because by the time that we're plunking for them, their teeth are getting harder and longer. This will stick them. Okay, so Josh, go ahead. I got to use the restroom real quick.
I just realized that without this camera hooked up, you probably can't hear anything that I'm saying, which I'm apologize for. I was saying though that this is how we do it. This is in, small scale right here because I have not got any of the new big ones from Kurt yet, but this is the idea. We're going to run the old Spin & Joe just like a spin glow, just right onto the old line. And no, I don't use this yellow line, guys. This is for demonstration purposes, so you can see the line. I would never throw this yellow line at a salmon or a steelhead for that matter. But anyways, and then I like to run at least 3 to 4 beads down there on the end, and then the old hook. You can obviously run a trailer if you want to, so you could have 2 hooks. Yeah, if you didn't know how to do that, let me see here if Kurt has come back to us yet. Kurt is back. Okay, here, let me slap old Kurt back in here. But yeah, Kurt, this is a general idea. Like, this is how you do it, don't you? You got the old Spin & Joe itself threaded right onto the line. She spins aerodynamically, and then I usually use at least 3 to 4 beads on the back there for the hook.
So, and I'll run a corky because that corky will spin a little bit better, because when we run the 3 beads like that, sometimes it'll make the hook spin. So just watch it. But here's what I'm going to tell you guys is a big secret.
Quick, are you talking a corky in front or behind? Behind. Okay, so we're going. So you like to run the Spin Joe, then you throw a corky on here, and then maybe a couple.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. Especially too, guys, like I know that right now, like when you look at this right here, this corky might seem really big because it's, the same size as the Spin & Joe, but obviously the Spinning Joe that Kurt has is a lot larger than this guy right here. This is a little guy for steelhead.
So yeah, so we went ahead and made that up for you guys. Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
So they get the idea that, and then you and I are going to do a video on the road, aren't we? We're going to do the 2 days, aren't we?
Yes. So we're going to go down to the old Rogue River, the lower section of the Rogue River. We're going to do a couple of days fishing out there. These are probably going to work absolutely fantastic out there. Where we're going to be at, there's like a really deep pocket in the bottom, and all the fish kind of hang out there, and they have to go up this chute, and it skinnies up. And we like to, that's why I got this guy out. We like to run side planers so we can kind of just sit in the chair, and all the fish on the move up through the chute. We got the side planer. If you've never used one before, this keeps your stuff like in the middle of the river. It grabs the current and it keeps it in the river. And what happens is, so it has a pivotal point right here, as you can see. And so your line is actually like at a 90-degree angle, if that makes sense. And that makes this fin engage and grab the current, and it swims out like a boat out to the middle of the river. Now, when a fish bites it, it clips forward like this, okay, making it inline. All right. And then you don't have to fight this thing when you're fighting the fish, because now it's all in line with the motion of everything going on. And then obviously this little clip guy, you can switch to either side of the side planer, so you can run, any given current or whatever. But basically, you run this out there, and then you run, this Spinning Joe setup with a little bit of bait on it or something like that behind it. And this guy's going to keep that thing right in the middle of the river. Obviously, you can use weight, and you could, plunk it and plant it down. But, you always risk snagging and stuff like that. You can run this in the middle of the river without worrying about snagging. And even if this is, hanging too high on the surface, this does offer the ability where, like, from here coming out the back, you could run like an inline 1 ounce weight so that it pushes it down some more. And then the Spinning Joe is chilling out in the back. That's an excellent, that was our setup number 2 that we wanted to cover. And this was the, like, you could troll this, you could plunk this, you could run this behind a side planer. The possibilities are really endless with it.
So Jeff Stroger, great fisherman, by the way, said, Kurt, we need that bigger one, because then we're going to take the plug, and they run they put their plug and it dives it down, right? And then they run their eggs or whatever they're running behind that, right? Because they're not really going to hit that plug, because it's doing this in front of them. It just stirred them up, right? And salmon see up. So the idea is you stir them up, and then you bring your bait across the top of them, right? And bam. Same thing with that. Everybody's the newest thing is the hover fishing. Well, maybe not new. But there's these guys are involved in the hover fishing. But anyway, so there is that. So listen, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to get Starlink, so that as we're out on the rivers, we'll be able to do the lives from wherever we're at, so we can show you guys what's happening. Okay. And as we're experimenting, you guys can actually come in and put input in, because we'll know that the fish are there. They'll be jumping. So what we need to do is narrow down what we do to catch our fish, to put in the smoker, to put in the freezer, so that we have food, guys. That's why I fish. The adventures are getting there. Once I'm there, I'm relaxed, and I just want to harvest what's harvestable, so that I can fill my freezers, so that I have food for the winter. That's just basically how I am. How about you? I mean, we go out and do the trout fishing. Do we really eat the trout? No. I release mine anyway.
I let a lot of them go.
Yeah, I let a lot of them go too. Now, when you're ice fishing, that's different. Their meat's totally different, right? So,
well, I mean, it depends. Like, I have this one lake right now that's over. It's South Twin Lake. It's that thing is just absolutely riddled with copepods. So I don't want anything out of there. I'm trying to here. Let me see. Why is it not showing me my? Here we go. Here's my subscriptions. Guys, I wanted to do a quick interjection to say that if you have not subscribed to Kurt's channel yet, you need to go over and do that right now. I have
You know what? Thank you, brother. That's really good of you because we're struggling to get them. I can turn on all the bells and whistles at 500, right? I can do some things right now, and thank you for that. You know, it's just word of mouth, and I stayed quiet all this time until now because, listen, guys, everything's freaking expensive, and we don't have the money that we need to be able to go fishing. So all of us men have all had this discussion, and that young man that's running this right now wants to open up another store in La Pine. We need to make sure that we support him on that.
Check it out, guys. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to YouTube. You're going to type in God Sent Fishing Adventures. Okay?
No, God Sent Adventures.
God Sent Adventures. Here it is, God Sent Adventures. You'll see a picture of old Kurt right here. It looks like you're holding is that a coho salmon? Or is that old Nookie? I think that's a coho.
That's a Nookie that I'm going to show you guys for the river stuff. I'll show you that real quick too.
But check it out, guys.
Because eggs are getting a little bit scarce too.
He's at 136 subscribers right now, as you can see. We got to bump this up because when he gets over 500, we are going to have the ability to sell his products right from the YouTube, which is super, super important. After he gets that linked, I can sell them right here on this YouTube channel as well. So it really helps us out. Go over there, God Sent Adventures. I know that you might need to leave the live stream in order to search it. You can always come back or you can go do it afterwards. Either way.
Yeah, do it afterwards.
Subscribe to his channel, guys. Make sure to do that. It is, we appreciate it as creators. It is super important for us to be able to do these things, and the more support, the better. What you got there? Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. I was going to say our next setup that we're going to get into, and this is a perfect segue for it, is the old, and you can plunk that too, what he's got. But another thing that people do for the old springers is the bobber setup. You want to talk about that first as a plunk?
So you show them that plunking setup. I'll go finish smoking my cigarette.
Okay. All right, let's do that. So setup number 2, guys. Let me enlarge myself here. And we can actually, let's go ahead and pull up the old setup cam. There we go. We'll be able to see a little bit better. The double camera setup definitely helps, I feel like. I mean, I've been using this camera right here a bunch too to show you guys, but there's, you know, this camera as well. I don't know. I guess this camera is kind of more clear when I can bring it into view for you. But anyways, okay, so this is a very, very small light setup. This isn't exactly what you're going to use for salmon, but this is the next setup for springers that we wanted to talk about, and that's just simply running stuff underneath of a bobber. And there's a lot of different options that you can do when you know, as far as what you run underneath the bobber. The setup is pretty simple. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to put the old bobber stopper onto the old main line. And I got here, you can buy numerous different types, guys. They make these rubber dudes right here that you can clip on there. They also do the old braided line version of bobber stop. Either one's going to work. It doesn't matter. Either one. And simple application, you know, let me see here. Oh, that's right. I have a setup tied to the end of this line. Let me cut it off real quick. Okay. Oh, I dropped it. Okay. So you got the old line, right? And the bobber stop. You just pick one of these, you know what I'm saying? Like we'll go this little red guy right here, you know, and you just go through that little looper. Ooh, I don't know if you can really see too well. You go through this little looper, right? So the line is going through it. If you can see that, let's see. Let me organize. There we go, right there. And you just grab the stopper, double the line over, and now the old stopper is on the line. Now, if it was the other version of the stopper, I know I'm wasting stoppers here, but that's okay because you guys might be learning. So you just take the old stopper, you go through it like that. See that there? And then make sure to slide the black guy off of the line. The little black tube that's on there, you got to slide the knot up. Otherwise, the black little tube is going to be stuck on there. And see, so we got to take that off just like that. And then you got to pull this guy nice and tight. I struggle sometimes, guys, that I don't even pull this tight enough. I have my buddy Jason sometimes help me to get it as tight as you possibly can, and then you can slide this guy up the line and obviously nip off the two little ends. And those are two different versions, bobber stop. But that's how it starts because you got to somehow stop the bobber. So you got the bobber stop, and then you're going to add a bead. There we go, the old bead. And then your slip float. And with salmon, I like to use like a 1 ounce slip float. If I'm fishing in some really heavy current, I might use something different. There's a couple spots on the North Umpqua fish where you can use all the way up to a 3 ounce float because you need that 3 ounce weight to push your bait down really, really fast. But anyways, you throw on the old bobber and then you do another bead. This doesn't have another bead on it because this was like micro fishing for, I think, bluegill. Yeah. And then you add your weight. You do your swivel down to your leader and your hook, which is going to finally contain your bait. Now, that is where we come to the next part of it. There's lots of different things that you can do, guys. You could use salmon eggs. I got some juicy salmon eggs right here that are waiting for your old Springer season. Look at that. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You could also throw beads on the bottom of it. Obviously, you could throw your cluster beads and stuff, which is where, boom, I bet you Kurt is back. Look at this. Here he is. We're going to throw him right back up on stage. Look at that. Let me get rid of the old setup cam so we got Kurt a little more visible.
So, Joshua, as you set that up, I wanted to talk about, okay, so we all throw eggs at them, right? So they see eggs, they see eggs, they see eggs, they see eggs. So they eventually get tired of it. So we let the hole rest. We walk away, we give it 10 minutes, we go back, we throw the eggs at them again, and they still don't bite. Okay? Right. It's because of color and UV. So can I take a second to show some UV stuff?
Yeah, please do. Here, I'm going to make you front and center.
Okay, so I hope that you guys can see this. So this is what it looks like to you. It just pretty much looks pink, right? Well, the fish don't see this the same as we do. We see this as a pink. Now, I'm going to show you the way that the fish see. Okay, so let me do this so you guys can see this. This is just a simple UV blue light. And let me tell you something. When I do my rock hunting, I bring this flashlight with me because you can find some really cool stuff. So that I set this on here so you guys can see the blue, I hope. Now, you guys see this as pink, right? Watch what happens when I drop it in the water. It turns blue and a darker pink. Okay, so this is actually glowing and the fish actually gets to see this.
That's cool.
Okay, so this is what that fish sees going through the water. Can you see it okay, Joshua?
Yeah, put your hand over the top of the tube, and I bet you'll be able to see it. Oh, yeah. And then bring it up closer to the camera for him.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is what the fish sees, okay? So if we start throwing some different colors at them, as we know with the steelhead, same fish, just different salmonoid. If we throw different colors at them, they bite. So I have just these two right here, okay? So we designed this and we designed this. There's a reason why we designed them the way that we did. This, if you run it this way with the ball at the end, okay? And this one has a little bit of white in it, so it looks like it's milking. It's going to wiggle as it goes through the water, okay? You add this to it. I got some hot rodder outside. You add this to it. This literally takes the water. It's got a lip on it. As you can see, it's got a lip on it, and it literally shoves this bait down to the bottom. So now we're not adding that split shot up here. We're not doing all the rest of it, and we're getting this motion through the water. Hang on, guys.
Kurt's got somebody going crazy outside, I guess.
Yeah, like super crazy. Like he just robbed a bank, kind of crazy. So
well, hopefully you didn't do that.
Yeah, I know, that was really insane. So I do many different setups with these, and Joshua, this is a whole other story, right? But just so you guys know, if you look at the salmon that I caught it on this one right here. Which is a milky pink. Okay, so now I want to put this back into the blue light so you guys can see what this does, all right? Because it changes, that's actually the sunrise.
Right.
But this one right here has a clear in it, right? And the reason why we did that was so that it makes it milk. Okay, so now let me put it in here. And we see the bubblegum pink. But this is the way they see it. They see that bluish color on the other side of it, and it looks like the skate. So they just come to it, right? So, you know, the color has a lot to do with it when we're bobber fishing, guys. And don't be afraid to run different colors. And I wanted to explain something about the UV. I know we've all been burned on it because that we thought that it was going to be a good bait and all the rest of it, okay? The UV is very, very particular. And if you look on this right here, I'll switch the camera. So I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Yeah, it's being real temperamental. But I keep all of my temperatures. I keep all of my temperatures right around 305 for the UV and for the things that I put inside of my bait so that I don't burn it, okay? And that is key. When you're using a UV bait, make sure that when you open up that bag, smell the bag. And if those baits smell, take them out of the bag and let them air out. Do not let them get wet. Let them air out so that you get that burnt UV out of it. The UV will still work, but I'm telling you, that fish is going to smell that stuff and just go the other way. We've all seen it. There's a fish laying there, and we run a bait by, and they just turn away and go the other way. That's why, because they added the UV and things that weren't natural to that fish. But the UV has a tendency of getting burnt. Okay, so please make sure that you smell. You open up when you buy a bag of bait. Open it up. It's okay, but make sure that you get that smell off of that bait, and it will go away. You just need to let it air out. So when we're bobber fishing, we get 1 to 2 times in front of their face, and then they're done. And they'll shut the rest of the fish off. They'll put their hormones out and say, nope, something ain't natural here. Everybody shut down. And that's what happens. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, yeah. So, you know, with that bobber setup, I mean, there's so many different options to run underneath of it. You know, you can run your traditional salmon eggs. I do really, really like Kurt's product. It is a huge, huge helper to save on bait. I mean, for crying out loud, you can take this and you can tie your, I mean, I recommend that you do anyways, take your hook and tie on the salmon egg loop knot. So you can add a little bit of, you know, real salmon egg to throw some of that scent in there too. And then, you know, with that salmon egg loop knot, you can also add things like sand shrimp. You can add things like tuna balls. You can add things like chunks of herring, all sorts of stuff. You can run jigs underneath of the bobbers, guys. You can run tuna balls all by themselves underneath of the bobbers. I mean, it just becomes endless with the bobber setup.
You know, and I've got the stuff here to teach them how to make the sack with the 2 colors, 3 colors. Maybe we should do that video as well, so that they have the chance, so that they know how to tie a tuna sack. They know how to tie a herring sack. They know how to tie a shrimp sack. That's probably another video that we need to do for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I guess unless there's anything else that you want to throw in there, I was thinking we'll probably go on to the next type of setup. Which
the spinner.
The spinner, yeah. So that's what I was gonna say is salmon also like the old, they like spinners, they like spoons, they like blue foxes, you name it. And if I understand correctly, you just released a spinner, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did. So they also like these guys too.
So I got those two. I gotta flip the box over here. Here, I'll even show you on the other camera here. Look, because I got so much salmon gear sitting on my table. I mean, look at the table right there, and you can't even see all of the table. Like, look. Anyways, this big old box right here, all of my cut plugs and everything are out. But if we close this. And this is actually my buddy's box, I'll be honest, because I know he's watching and he let me borrow this because it's more organized than my stuff. And I don't want him saying that's not your box, it's his box. But look at that. Tell me that's not candy right there. It's just a whole box full of them, guys. So, okay, so let me get rid of the old setup cam. We're going to come back to the old GoPro. Yeah, they like plugs, and they like plugs. God, look at this. I
want to buy it.
Every color.
More.
This isn't even all of them right here. So here's a quick fish. They like quick fish too. This is a K14. It's a little large, and then you got the old, they like mag lips too. Gotta love the old mag lips. And then this is the old, if I can, we kind of got everything stuck to it, but the Wiggler, that's what you got right there. Like the Wiggler, guys, has passed the test of time. Like OG, old school, back in the day, grandpa, dude, they were making Storm, not Wiggleworts, but the Storm, original Storm from Lure Jensen. Those were killing it back in the day. Then they've been replicated over and over again by, this one's actually a Storm, but Fat Lips have done them and Mag Lips have done them and whatnot. That is a diver like that is all I'm just trying to say. A diver is always worth a throw. So check it out. Look. Kurt's got a diver going on there.
And that's called tuning your nose.
Yeah, he's got two. I see. Do you have two tunings on there? Is there another eye up on the top? Oh, no. I thought there was another eye up.
I actually have all the 3D printers. And I designed this one and 3D printed it because I have some other things coming out with this. Don't worry, I'll get to that later.
But don't you have like a spinner? No, like a spinner.
Right? I have 4 printers, and I was way ahead.
Spinner? Don't you have a spinner?
Yeah. Oh, the new spinner.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, I'm sitting there on the bank and I'm going, okay, this is what we got for spinners. I got all that stuff. I can go buy it from Worth. I can go buy from Barlow's. I can go buy from all those guys, and I don't mind telling you. But I wanted something that was going to do something different, okay? Because we throw spinners up into the water and hope that blade, by the weight of the spinner, right? Enough. I want every blade that when we throw it upriver, that as soon as that thing hits the water, it's pulling that blade down. Well, guys, I call this the ball buster. It's the 14 millimeter ball on the end of this, and I'll have some made. I got some colors coming from a pretty custom guy, a huge company in America, in Tennessee. That is helping me with perfecting the colors. This is junk. But the lure itself, okay, so here, I can't see, so I'm going to try to slide this back through. Okay, anyway, the principle is it goes on the shaft. It sits on the shaft, right? We have our hook right here, right? We have our hook. And now we have our blade with two metal balls with our clevis. When you throw this in the water, this weight's instantly going to go down. That's what I wanted. So that this weight's going down, it's pulling that blade, and that blade is spinning as it's going down. And we know that the 14 millimeter bead, and I've got 3/4 and a half ounce. They're both still 14 millimeter beads. And of course, it's still in testing, you guys. But we're in salmon season now. We're done with the steelhead season. So guess what, guys? It does something else. So now you take it, and this way I can definitely do. We're going to stick it through and make it top heavy instead of bottom heavy. And the reason for that is that when we throw this spinner out, I want this spinner to dive straight down. And the reason why I want it to dive straight down is because that when you pull this thing with that blade, and that blade is double the size now, okay? You pull that blade in front of that fish's mouth, he's going to hit it. So that's the new spinner. We're waiting on the colors. We'll have it perfected and have it out for testing. And Joshua, will you please test this for us? Because we have a policy at Godset. I'm not going to sell you fishermen. Here's one for you. I don't need your money. I need your stories and your adventures, okay? Yeah. Because I want to go on it with you, right? So if we get one thing out of all the things that we talked about tonight, if we get one thing that just works all the time, which I wish we could, but if we get something that works, then let's use it, right? And let's have those stories. This year, the pictures of all of the fish that we caught through the bait company and the guys out working and doing and the shrimp, it was just a great season. And, you know, we're not getting rich. Matter of fact, I couldn't even pay the bills on the building that I own. Okay? I didn't make a bunch of money, guys, but I created some new stuff.
I will feed that thing to rainbow trout, brown trout, mackinaw, all sorts of stuff. Salmon, trout.
So now we have, okay, so what happens if they're on the regular spinner? I think that everybody should have every tool in their toolbox to get the job done. But we do have something new. And that's what it's about, guys. Let's get something new and let's, guys, I like doing the experimental, the R&D. My research and development lab is usually on a river, lake, ocean.
Check this out. One day we were trolling for salmon and we were using the classic triangle flashers and cut plugs and all that. And I swear to God, I threw something really, really unique. I'm going to grab it for you. And it was because of that reason. Hold on.
Okay. So anyway, you guys, I hope that a lot of your questions got answered. Please check your boats. Go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Put your engine in a bucket. I don't care how you get that water up into that engine. Check your gas lines. Make sure that your fans are working. Make sure that your electronics are working, guys. This is important. We lost a fisherman last year because that his motor cavitated on him and that boat went gone. So It wasn't his fault. But he just wasn't prepared for it. So guess the lesson that we learned? We need to be checking the weather and looking at the radar, you guys. We learned a lesson and ain't nobody said it until now. We need to have somebody on the boat checking the weather because we have radar. I'm
always switching between channel 16 just in case somebody's in distress and I can get there faster. And the like AM station or whatever that's always broadcasting the weather, you know, that's constantly running on my boat, like constantly. Well, check this out. Tell me if you think this was crazy. So we're out trolling on the Willamette. We're trolling with triangle flashers, right? And we're using the classic cut plugs, you know, all that kind of stuff. Well, I got thinking, I'm like, okay, well, salmon really, really like jigs, right? And everybody knows that they like hoochies, right?
Yep.
And I thought, well, and they like spinners. They like stuff that spin, right? So I thought, what if I drug this behind?
You know what? It's going to attract them.
And the thing was okay, so it has a spinner, right? We know that they like spinners. This little skirt guy ain't no different really than like a jig or a hoochie, right? And I thought to myself, I was like, I'll bet you they've probably never seen a bass spinner bait. So that was that same. I was just tacking on to what you were saying, is that sometimes just showing them something new is well worth it, you know. I didn't
here's one for you. So here's one for you. The day that you stop worrying about catching a fish and having fun fishing, you're always going to have fun fishing.
Yeah, I tell everybody, they always ask me, they're like, because my YouTube channel and stuff, they're like, dude, how do you always catch so many fish and so many big fish? And the first thing I say is, one, you see the good days. Okay. First of all, because of editing, it's beautiful. You get to see the good days. But secondly, though, you have to envelop yourself. You have to be out there. I'll be sitting in the chair. I'll be looking at the mountains. I'll be watching the bald eagles and the ducks and everything, and it's like when I've noticed that when I get enveloped into that environment and I'm really not paying attention anymore, that's when I look over and my rod is halfway into the freaking lake. You know what I mean? So it really does work. It really does, to just kind of stop worrying about the fishing. And sometimes I get that opportunity too as a filmmaker, because a lot of times when I'm out there, I'm more focused on being a filmmaker and fishing comes second. And so sometimes that helps, that I'm not just like the puppy dog, like just staring at the rod, But I will say though, that people that do that, man, I mean, paint doesn't dry while you watch it, water doesn't boil, and a fishing rod doesn't get hit. And before I forget, you were talking earlier, clear back on setup number 1, we were talking about how they'll mouth it. And we talked about it in setup number 2 with the like spin joe and all that. When you're trolling, guys, it's a little bit different on the bobber aspect. You want to react right away. But when you're trolling with these, you're trolling with the spin joes, when you're running these plugs and things like that, primarily from the boat is what I'm trying to get at. Like Kurt said earlier, they're going to mouth it. And I can't tell you how many other fishermen I've seen out on the water where the salmon hits it and they're on the rod immediately, and then the fish is gone. You want to let that fish mouth it, chew on it, chomp on it, count to 10. If he's going to be stuck, like, because when you're on the boat's doing the work, right? That's why I say the bobber setup's different, because when the bobber goes down, you need to react and you need to set the hook. Right. But the boat is already pulling the plug. It's already pulling the flasher. It's already pulling the spin joe, or whatever. And let the fish get hooked before you start yarding on him, man. I say the 10-second rule. As soon as the rod starts bouncing, count to 10.
Hang on, somebody's
down and count to 10.
Me.
Okay. Kurt's going to take a phone call here really quick. Do you need to take the phone call? I'm not sure.
Am I still in?
You're still here. Yeah. No, I was wondering if you were going to take the phone call.
Somebody was trying to call me.
Oh. Well, they just need to hop in the live and throw in a comment. That's what they should do.
Well, that was actually Casey Crone. And that young man whacked me with a fishing pole the other day because of that fish hit that thing. And it was whack. It was like, damn it, what the hell was that? So I laughed about it. We went out and fished some more. Anyway, I want to tell 2 stories.
One of the last things Go ahead.
Okay, so the first story is we're out fishing. We're in the All-Sea Derby, and we're fishing with a very famous guy. And he's like, I have Pistol with me. He's been fishing these rivers all of his life. Sure enough, the fish hits, and he pulls back and misses the fish, right? The guy goes, next time, don't touch the pole until I tell you to touch the pole.
Yeah.
So I learned that there, right? Because when I was commercial fishing, they could pull on that spring for a half an hour. I didn't care. I didn't want to bring in a hot fish. They're gonna bite it, the hook, and follow it. Why bring in a hot fish? I don't want to lose that fish. I want to catch that fish.
Right.
So the second one is just let them run. When they take out 50 yards of line, they're hooked. Okay, then start reeling them in, but they're still hot. So then I'm out sitting. I'm in Virginia. I'm in the Appalachian Mountains, and I'm actually prospecting. And I'm fishing, looking for rocks, all the rest of it. I'm fishing super hard because I need fish so I can eat, right? I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to sit down and have something to eat. So I had that piece of corn sitting in the water, on top of the water, and here comes this monster around and grabs that piece of corn off the top of the water, scared the bejesus out of me, and I got my fish. So I sat down, I relaxed, I enjoyed myself, I ate that fish, and I realized, you know what? I was relaxing and having fun, and I just caught this monster brown, which they're silver with red, orange, and green spots. They're not like our browns here. So
right.
what an experience. All right, well, listen, what do you think? I think we've bored them enough. Did we have any questions all night?
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up here soon, guys. So, if you have questions, I did see a question. If Robert is still with us, hopefully he is. Clear back at the trolling setup, he asked if I use a 6 bead chain. I'm assuming he's meaning like on the end of the spinner. This one just has a 3. I do prefer a larger one, typically like a 6 or even a 5. This one just has a short 3 on it, but I do like to use that. That's the only question I really seen in the comments, and Robert is still in here, so I'm glad we got to his question. Back to the plugs though, because I do want to touch a few more things on the plugs. One thing that's great about plugs too, guys, is notice this guy here. You can tie herring, and you can tie all kinds of stuff on the bottom of your plugs too when you're bouncing your plugs to add that extra scent and things. As well as I know I got oh boy, look at this box. Holy cow. I've got bead, not bead chains. What am I saying here? I have scent tubes. And that's a good thing to run up in front of your plug as well. That one's broken. Here you go. There's your old scent tube. Let me set this down. There you go. So you'll run a scent tube, and then you'll run a leader down to the old plug. You don't want to put the scent tube too far from the plug, but obviously the less gear you can show the salmon, the better. And then you can just fill these bad boys up. Look, I'm going to be good, and we're not going to show a brand because Kurt makes sense too, and I want you to buy his scent, so I'm not going to show you what brand this is. But you take the old scent and you put the scent inside the tube, and that's going to maximize your ability to have that plug pushing out a whole bunch of scent while also tying things like tuna and stuff like that with stretchy string around the bottom of your plug. That's going to be super effective. That's one thing that you don't necessarily get to do in the world of spinners, because it's going to kind of throw the spinner all wonky. You can sometimes, most salmon regulations, you're not going to be able to use this treble hook. Like notice that this Blue Fox, it came with a single point, and that's because of salmon, guys, because you usually have to swap out to the single point, and you can put salmon eggs and stuff like that on there, but it doesn't hang on to that single point quite as well as like a treble hook. And then, like I said, I mean, the more bait you add to the back of that treble hook, it kind of makes the spinner wonky anyways. Jigs are another. Before we finish, I wanted to cover the topic of jigs. You can not only throw the jig underneath of the bobber, but you can also just throw the jig like a lure and twitch it and retrieve it. In the early spring, it seems like you can cast these and retrieve them just like straight, not even twitch them, and they'll still eat them. Whereas in the fall, you get a lot more of that. You need that up and down twitching motion. Another thing to not look past in the world of jigs is everybody initially thinks, jigs like these guys right here, the feather jigs, but creature jigs work really good, and hard body jigs as well, like P-Lines, Coconator right here. These things work really good for salmon. One of my favorite things ever. to catch springers on is buzz bombs. It's one of my favorites. I catch a lot of fish on buzz bombs. The problem that I have is I always get super excited. I'm going to show you a video clip here really quick. I don't know if I can yes, I can. I can fast forward it here. Where is it? Oh, maybe I don't have it in here. It was a video of a big old Springer hen that I caught on a chartreuse buzz bomb. Man, she ripped it out of my freaking hand when she hit it. It was unbelievable. So they like these. You just need to be a little more careful about your technique with these, because them being a lead hard body jig, you will run into accidental snags of fish. And look, the reality, guys, is that this is a technique that it does work. They do eat it in the mouth. Do your best to not accidentally whack them. If you do accidentally whack them, just realize that accidents do happen. You're breaking the law when you harvest the fish that you accidentally whacked in the tail. So even if it's a hatchery, unhook the SOB, let it swim away and coax one into chomping it in the mouth. The video I was going to show was kind of funny, though, because as soon as I pulled the buzz bomb out of her freaking mouth, I'm trying to take a picture. Well, actually, no, I didn't pull the buzz bomb out, because I like to take a picture, especially when I fish with the buzz bombs, because I get a lot of hate for the buzz bombs. I like to get that salmon and hold that salmon while it's still, breathing and all that, with the buzz bomb hanging out of its mouth and all that. Well, I didn't unhook the fish because I wanted the buzz bomb in its mouth, and the fish flopped on me, went down in the rocks, and it snapped my Lamaglass rod in half. So it was a really funny video. I wanted to show it to you, but I don't have it pulled up in here. But they love the buzz bombs, though. Trust me, they love the buzz bombs. I mean, because here's the thing, guys. When you work this properly, okay, you're not looking for the buzz bomb to drop and the abrupt motion coming up. Okay, that's what's going to snag fish. Okay, what you're trying to do is it's more of a gentle, slow lift. Get this to come up in the column 4 or 5 feet, and then it's all about the drop, because the buzz bomb rolls when it falls, and all these little fins on the side of the buzz bomb under the water makes it go right. And so when I have a Springer slot that I know is packed full of fish and they don't want to do anything, this is my go-to, because it pisses them off. Like, it's that plain and simple, because when they have seen this thing, I have to commit to numerous casts too. But when I have ran this thing 100 times through all those holding fish, and they've just watched it over and over again, right in their face, eventually one of them goes, I'm eating that thing.
I'm going to kill that damn thing. I've seen it enough. Okay, so that buzz bomb that you have right there is white.
Right.
And that's a glow buzz bomb. That's a glow buzz bomb.
Right.
That's what these guys are for. If you hit them with these blue lights, and I've got other ones, watch this. I'm going to show you guys a trick. Okay, hang on. So when I'm out doing the salmon, okay, and I want something to glow, I've got a small one. And let me tell you something. These things charge that glow super quick. Now, if I can show you guys, this glows too, but if I can show you guys that quick, that buzz bomb that he just had right there, literally this quick, okay? And then that buzz bomb is charged with these blue lights. Get on to an American-made company, but I know TVU has them cheap. Get on there and get one of the blue lights, you guys, and charge those baits, because let me tell you something. Sun doesn't do it the same. You can actually go through and charge like this part. You can make circles and dots on it. Charge your bait.
This is my killer right here. That murders.
So the flutter jig like that, I like that better than the big old jerkin jigs that they have now. But I like these guys better. I like these guys better because my hooks are up inside, and I don't get hooked on the bottom. So I just tell you guys my secret shit.
Well, and another thing with those tube jigs too is just like I was saying with the spinners, like how when you throw a spinner and you can't really add a whole lot of scent to this, like there's no ability to pack it in or anything like you would with like a cut plug or whatever. And so, that's another jig opportunity where instead of, a jig like that, I mean, I guess the feather would probably hold some scent pretty well too, but that tube jig is going to be your best bet because that's going to hold like literally a couple of grams worth of scent in there that's going to disperse over time.
So I run my hook. I'm going to go ahead and give up the secret. So my jig head here, but I run a smaller jig head and I leave my hook just stuck out a hair. And guess what? I get to jig all day long. And I learned that. I'll tell you that story. I'm fishing with Ty White and he's teaching me how to jig fish. He puts on the only one that he had for the whole tournament because he didn't get a chance to go get one. And my first cast, I lost it. Hit the bottom. And then I figured, okay, I'm jigging, right? Let it hit the bottom and start bringing it back. He goes, no, Kurt, don't let it hit the bottom. Done. So I figured that's how you jig it, right? No, when you're jigging, you don't want it to hit the bottom. You want to keep bouncing it through the water. That's where people are snagging up on their fish. The buzz bomb, as soon as that thing hits the bottom, I've lifted it up and I'm just slowly moving it to the next spot. Slowly moving it to the next spot. Same thing I do for the lingcod, no different theory. Let it hit the bottom and slowly pick it up and move it to the next spot. Move it to the next spot.
Yep.
All right, well, listen, my wife is calling me. I'm probably in trouble or I got to go have dinner.
All right, we're going to say goodbye to Kurt. I'm going to wrap this up. We'll see you later, Kurt. Thanks for joining us today. Most definitely. Everybody say bye to Kurt.
Joshua, thank you for all of the things that you've done for Godsent and all of the veterans that you've helped, young man.
No problem.
Will forget that.
No problem, my friend. Guys, remember to go check out godsentfishing.net. That's where all the products are. Definitely make sure to go check out Godsent Adventures on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel. I'm going to just wrap up here. We went through flasher setups, guys, from triangle, 360, running things like cut plugs and spin baits behind them. I'm reiterating so you could always go back on the live stream if this interests you. We talked about different like Spin and Glow and a new Spin Joe by Godsent Fishing and how to run those. We've talked about jigs from buzz bombs, hard bodies, feather bodies. I even talked about how I threw this thing while we were salmon fishing. We talked about all different types of plug fishing. We talked about bobber fishing, many different setups to be able to catch springers, guys. We talked about different scents. We talked about different kinds of baits. That's what we do on this channel. We cover it all. We make sure that you are informed. So make sure to subscribe, like, and until next time, guys, we're going to see you. Take care.